Hey cool cats, Raza Neko here. Welcome to the Kitty Corner video. Today I'm going to be giving my final thoughts on Olympia Soiree. This game, I feel like there's a lot of things to it that made me give it the rating that I did. For one thing, it was actually pretty predictable. The characters were so classic and not really in depth, so it was easy to figure out who was going to do what and what was going to happen. On top of that, one of the biggest things that I felt uncomfortable with is that there was rape, drug use, and underage things that happened in the game. For example, the thing that honestly traumatized me the most, like I couldn't sleep for a couple nights and it left me shaking, was the fact that the heroine was drugged along with one of her friends, and that person was made to believe that that was her lover that they were looking at, and that she was looking at her own lover, and made them have intercourse. It just felt so wrong, so disgusting and uncomfortable. Like I said, I could not sleep for a couple nights at times just thinking about that situation happening. Love to me is such an important thing. Physical contact like that, as you can hear me using certain words with it, just means so much to me. Being vulnerable like that, but being drugged to do those kind of things, thinking it's someone else, it was just, honestly, it was unacceptable. On top of that, one of the character choices was 17. Technically in the US, you can be 16 through 18 depending on a state to do physical things like that, to get married and things like that. So I felt a little bit on edge with Tokisada being an option, and on top of that, he was a little childish. I'm not saying it in a bad way, it's just a personality trait. At another bad route of the game, the heroine is drugged again to essentially be sleeping permanently, and of all the male characters, they forced the 14-year-old, who's very broken in a sense, to force himself on her while she's unconscious. A 14-year-old. Especially since I work with kids, this is very unnerving. I did do a little bit of research and found out that the age of consent in Japan is about 13 or so. Marriage rates and stuff are a little bit similar in the US, like with 16 and all, but it still made me feel very uncomfortable. There was also another thing that kind of had me a little bit curious. What is the difference between love and lust? The heroine, within 2 weeks, this all happens 2 weeks from each person. She falls in love with them almost immediately, and then everything becomes lust. One small touch, just a hand on her shoulder, and she's already weak in the knees and is feeling hot and bothered. That to me is lust, when you physically want someone but not emotionally. Everyone has their own way though, where they can be physically attracted to someone but maybe not romantically. Or hey, guys aren't the only ones that have high hormones. I get it. I just wish I was a little bit prepared for it, but in the future now I know to kind of keep an open mind to anything happening. Another question that had me thinking when playing this game was she meant to find her true love in this game, or is it all about who we end up loving? Her hair takes the color on her lover when they're being intimate, and by intimate it can be from as light as a kiss to something more. Love kind of works in mysterious ways. You and someone else could be meant to be together, or sometimes it takes you being with someone else to learn small things about them that you're able or willing to tolerate, or heck, maybe even open to. But the game had me wonder. I saw more of who she ended up loving and making a relationship rather than true love itself, because in the game when she was forced to have intercourse with people that weren't her lovers, she didn't take on their color, but she was able to physically do it. So is the whole hair thing only when she loves them in turn, or when she actually finds her other half? The world was pretty interesting as well, with only falling in love with those of their same color class or similar, and a bit of a hierarchy. I'm not surprised that the primary colors took the top, secondary at second, and then all the other colors were just kind of roaming around. I was a little bit disappointed. The first route that I went through was Riku's route, and in his route, when the heroine danced at the end, you saw a blue color go from the waters to the sun. But in the other routes, that only happened one more time with one other person. I feel like it could have made the end of the game a little bit more interesting, where she can throw the colors of her partners up in the sky like that. But it was never explained and only done twice. One thing I will say though is that I was completely shocked by the ending with Doma. The fact that Doma was actually her father. The fact that they pointed out that him and the heroine were very much the same, where neither of them showed their true feelings or were honest with each other. It was such a shock to me. And so amazing. It was adorable. It was cute. That's the one thing I feel like the game did great. The characters and matching with the romances and story was pretty predictable. This one completely threw me for a loop, and I loved it, especially in the end when she was hugging her father. I don't know how her father couldn't hold back from telling her anything or like hugging her or being honest or anything, but I'll just take it. It was very beautiful to find that out. I will also add that when I played this game, I started playing it when it first came out, and I was excited, especially since I was playing this game along with Cupid Parasite, and I was still trying to figure myself out on how to be Otome Princess Rosalind and what my channel should be about and what I should do and things that I was learning. That probably also had an effect on me and playing the game. I still feel like it's mostly the game though, so I wouldn't change the rating except maybe give it a 3.5 because of what I was feeling and thinking through the time. Even going through Himuka's route, it wasn't much. Overall, this is a pretty decent game, and I'm not really one to be open and talk about intercourse or anything, but this one was an interesting take and touched on it lightly, but never went into great detail, at least all the way. So I'd definitely keep your eyes out if you're interested in something spicy or only want to touch it lightly. Thank you, my pretty little kitties, for joining me today. And please, with much love, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything out on other Otome games and following thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you cool cats next time.